Sup YouTube, it's Zapdos TCG here and welcome back to our TCG video on my channel. On this channel you get daily Pokemon TCG content, so be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already to of course stay up to date with everything Pokemon. Today we're going to be talking about a Twilight Masquerade predictive tier list. So we do this every set that we just talk about, like when a set comes out, we just a couple of weeks before the set drops think about our predictions on which decks are going to be the best. This is actually based on the performance of the decks over in Japan. Japan is already having access to these cards and they're actually playing city leagues every single weekend, and we do have some info from that. And also throughout my years of competitive play, I'm also going to try and give you my opinion. If I forgot a deck, let me know in the comments below, or if I misplaced a deck in a specific tier list, also let me know, because this is my personal opinion mixed in with some Japanese results. So if your opinion is different, let me know and let's get a discussion started over in the comment section. And also let me know which deck you are personally looking forward to be playing in the Twilight Masquerade set. A lot of these decks will see play at the World Championships over in Honolulu, Hawaii, so I couldn't be any more excited to be talking about new archetypes and how decks will develop with Twilight Masquerade. If you enjoy videos like these, be sure to let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. Helps out in ridiculous ways you have no idea. And also go check out our sponsors for today's video, dragonshield.com, for your sleeves, binders, and deck boxes. You can use the coupon ZAPDOS5 to get 5% off on everything on the website. There's yourplaymat.com to create your own unique custom playmat. There's Potown Store for your TCG Live code card needs. You can use the coupon ZAPDOSTCG for 5% off. And cardmarket.com helps you out if you're a European player to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. Use the referral name ZAPDOSTCG to help support the channel. With that being said, a lot of new archetypes are being introduced in Twilight Masquerade. We have Iron Thorns, we have Dragapult EX, we have Greninja EX. I already talked about a lot of deck lists for all of these specific decks, so if you want to learn more about them, there are links in the description below to help you out to, of course, start playtesting with these already with some proxies. If you need proxies, head over to PokemonProxies.com. That's going to help you out for some English scans for cards that are currently not released quite yet. And with that being said, we're going to be talking about the new decks first, because I am very excited to be talking about all these new decks, and we're going to be putting Dragapult EX in that. I don't know if I want to be putting it in tier S, but it actually is performing really well over in Japan, and I don't know if there is a clearly tier S deck, but for now it is tier S. It could still drop down to tier 1, or maybe we just don't put any deck into tier S and just leave it as it is. I think that's fair with a tier list prediction. Let's just put Dragapult EX in tier 1. The reason why it is a tier 1 deck is because of its crazy attack Phantom Dive, allowing you to attack for 200 on the active and put 6 damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon however you feel like. This is actually very good because weak HP Pokemon like Frigibax, Charmander, you name it, have low amount of hit points, so you can get a 1.5 prize cards per attack, to be honest. So if you you don't one-shot EXs, that's true, but if you attack twice, you technically are, of course, swooping the bench as well. And because Dragapult EX is a dragon type, it doesn't come with any given weakness whatsoever, so 0 weakness, hard to counter. And also it's a stage 1 Pokemon evolution. The Dracloak also is able to, of course, establish a hand, because you can look at the top 2 cards of the deck, put 1 to the hand and 1 to the bottom of the deck, so pretty much like the Pidgeot Airmail days. Who remembers those, right? So Dragapult has a draw engine by itself, has no weakness, and spreads damage across the field. The only thing, Jirachi also doesn't stop the placement of damage counters. Maranafi also doesn't do that. The only thing there is a stage 1 grass type Pokemon that allows you to protect them, but it's a stage 1 and the basic can get swooped away by the attack. So yeah, spread with the Dragapult EX is here. It is a tier 1 deck, and it is confirmed over in Japan with a lot of placements. You can combine the Dragapult EX with stuff like Pidgeot EX. You can combine it with the Lost Zone engine with some Comphase. I've seen a whole plethora of Dragapult EX shenanigans, even with Bibarel. I even saw like a Dragapult together with, what was it, with Charizard EX. So it's just that dominant. With every specific version, there are benefits and disadvantages. But Dragapult is a strong archetype, and it is in the tier 1 category for now. Moving forward, we're going to be talking about another new deck here. It's a tier 3 deck, but it's actually kind of fun. It is Dipplin with Thwackey. Dipplin allows you to act twice if the Festival Stadium is in play. And if the Festival Stadium is in play, I'm not talking about the World Championship promo, I'm talking about the Festival Stadium card over in the Twilight Masquerade set that removes special conditions. But as if that is in play, you can attack twice with the Dipplin, attacking like 20 damage for every one of your bench Pokemon. So that can definitely help out to hit some ridiculous numbers. You can attack twice, which is very great. And also the Thwackey allows you to, of course, get any card you want from the deck, just like a quick search if the Festival Stadium is in play. And that actually saw a tiny bit of success here and there, sometimes a top 16 placement over in Japan. So we're putting it in tier 3. It's actually kind of on the roguish sides, but sometimes in the correct situations you can get away with some championship points by playing a deck like this. The cool thing is with the Dipplin and the Thwackey can get any card you want from the deck, and also there's a bug catcher set in the set as well, an item card allowing you to look at the top 7 cards of the deck and get a grass Pokemon and grass energy from that. So like extra grass support, having the Thwackey to get any card and attacking twice is great, and also being the grass type allows you to, of course, hit that pesky Charizard EX finally for weakness to one-shot that. So that's at least a good thing, right? Then moving forward, there's a couple of new decks. The Luxray EX, I personally wouldn't play this. It is a stage 2 and allows you to discard a card from your opponent's hand. I know in combination with Unfair Stamp, the ace-spec card that's everybody like getting hyped up with Twilight Masquerade, is good in combination with Luxray. I feel like it is still better to be like playing Pidgeot control with like Luxray V. Even though like Luxray EX is very crazy with its attack, the problem with it is that it's a stage 2, very hard to get out, and yeah, people can always draw themselves out of this with draw engines like, for instance, Dracloak, Comfey, etc. So yeah, Luxray EX, I would put it in the don't play this category. Moving forward, some new decks. I will be putting Blissey here. I know, I'll be putting it in, I don't know if I want to put it in tier 3 or tier 2, but I haven't seen that many results for Blissey quite yet, so I'll put it in the higher end of tier 3, even though Blissey itself does have quite amount of crazy stats going for it. It has 300 HP, and its ability also allows you to move one basic energy from one Pokemon to another, meaning that you can easily get away with playing 4 copies of Cheren Scare and just a Blissey shenanigans going around. Its return attack also allows you to draw cards until you have 6 cards in hand, so I don't know if I'll be putting it any higher. For now it's tier 3, but I could definitely see that in tier 2 eventually at one point, for sure. Then Iron Thorns, I'll put that in the solid tier 2 category. This actually is a deck that has the initialize ability, allowing you to shut down any Pokemon from the opponent's side of the field with a rule box, meaning Radiant Greninja, forget about it. Oh, you want to be using Charizard's Infernal Rain ability? Forget about it. Oh, you want to be using that Squawkabilly? Oh, that's too bad. You have everything with a rule box is initially shut down thanks to Iron Thorns EX, meaning that decks will be made around with just 4 copies of Iron Thorns, and that's it. That's the deck. Playing Crushing Hammers, playing Eerie, playing all the most disruptive cards in the format, Crushing Hammers in combination with Judge and all that, while shutting down the opponent's entire strategy. All their abilities shut down because of Iron Thorns EX. Is actually pretty cool. The bad thing is that Iron Thorns is shut down with Canceling Cologne, so if people start playing that, yeah, the Iron Thorns is pretty useless. But yeah, sometimes they don't play that, or yeah, they don't have access to it, or you use Eerie before they're able to use it, then you can definitely get away with Iron Thorns winning some events here and there. So only tier 2 because you can easily counter against it, but shutting down anything in the game is very good. And also as a note, a lot of EXs in the format don't have abilities, so against decks that actually are not reliant on abilities that much, you will definitely crumble, and its attack only slaps 140 damage most of the time with a DTE, so 120 is not the biggest damage output in the world. Bloodmoon Ursaluna with Forretress EX, I'll put this in also in the don't play this category. I've only seen one result from that, and the funny fact is that you use Forretress EX to blow yourself up, forcing the opponent to take 2 prize cards. Then you load your Bloodmoon Ursaluna up easily, and then you play a bunch of cards like I think you could play something like Turo and Cheren Scare and all that stuff with some HP buffing tools like Hero Escape and stuff. And then you have a very 360 HP monster. I know Bloodmoon Ursaluna by itself is one of the strongest cards in the upcoming format, and it's being played in almost every deck out there because it's just that splashable. Whether you're playing something, for instance, like a Lost Box deck, or maybe you're playing a Charizard list or a Lugia list, you can just splash in that Bloodmoon Ursaluna, allowing you to slap 240 damage, and for every prize card the opponent has taken, you need 1 colorless energy less to attack, meaning that Bloodmoon Ursaluna can definitely swing as soon as the opponent has taken a couple of prize cards. And also with 260 HP, you're not going down that easily. Not too many fighting types in the game currently, unless we're talking about Greninja EX shortly. But yeah, with that being said, Bloodmoon Ursaluna is an interesting card. An archetype by itself, probably not, but it's going to be tacked into a lot of decks out there. But the Forretress deck is actually kind of ridiculous. You blow yourself up, force the opponent to take prize cards, and then you loop your Bloodmoon Ursaluna time and time again because of supporters like Charon Scare as well as Turo. So interesting deck, but I personally wouldn't play that. Then, talking about some other new decks, it's Ogerpon. I'll put Ogerpon also in the tier 2 category. I've seen a couple of lists out there. Ogerpon with the Sinistcha EX as well, allowing you to, of course, snipe a little bit with some damage counters here and there for every grass energy you have in play. The cool thing is with the Ogerpon that you can use the Ogre's Mask to transform into another Ogerpon EX from the discard pile. We have a plethora of Ogerpon in the format with Twilight Masquerade. We have, of course, the Wellspring Ogerpon EX, allowing you to snipe some damage. You have the Cornerstone Ogerpon EX as well, allowing you to be immune from everything that has an ability. Very strong ability in my book, so that's why we're also putting this in tier 2. And also the Heartworm Ogerpon EX can actually pack a punch the more damage you have on yourself. You can play Legacy Energy with the Ogerpons. You can also play that Luminous Energy and then flip-flop around the Grass Energy so you can accelerate with the ability while drawing cards. So by itself, it has some great things going for it. You can transform into some different types. You can do a lot of walling with the Cornerstone Ogerpon, and you can also snipe with the Wellspring Ogerpon EX, the water type. So interesting stuff for sure for Ogerpon, currently at the tier 2 category. Then, moving forward, I think there's one more deck that I want to, or actually 2 more decks that I want to be talking about here with, this kind of set is actually Greninja EX. I've also put that in tier 2. I think the only tier 1 deck that comes from this set is actually Dragapult EX. For now, Greninja EX belongs in that tier 2 category because with Ninja Blade, you can get any card you want from the deck. The Thwackey also allows you to copy-paste a couple of basics from the deck instantly onto the bench, which is very good. You also have access to some sniping capabilities with Duplicate Barrage, slapping 120 damage to 2 of your opponent's targets, and with Canceling Cologne Prime Catcher at your disposal, being able to fetch it out with Ninja Blade, or even combining it with something like a Pidgeot EX in the list. You can get like any 2 cards every single turn. Like getting 2 cards is very, very powerful. I know Iono was in the format to get rid of that card from Ninja Blade, but you have 310 HP, you're a fighting type, you only need 1 energy to slap a monster's 170 damage. Enough to knock out stuff like Lumineon V, Squawkabilly EX, and you also KO Rotom because of weakness. So lots of bench hitters will be slapped around with Greninja EX. I've seen lists with Greninja EX being played with Pidgeot. I've seen lists being played with Charizard EX. I've seen lists with something. What else did I see for the Greninja EX? You can be combining it with a lot of situations, but it is clear that the card is actually do very, very good. Then moving forward, the last deck from the bunch is actually a very solid tier 3 deck with the Freezing Curtain of Froslass, putting 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon that has an ability, and actually stacks. So for every Froslass you can get out, that actually is going to be stronger and stronger, meaning that you can actually swoop an entire field. I've seen Froslass decks combining it with Greninja EX, just early game aggression, Ninja Blade, and getting out more and more Froslass because of the consistency, lowering the opponent's hit points. I've seen also Froslass being paired with something like Mawile and the Tempting Trap. You trap an opponent's bench hitter right there while the hard work of the ability is taking down the rest of the opponent's Pokemon. Very interesting for sure, and I wonder how far it actually will become when lists get more and more refined, but Froslass deserves its spot. So as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 new archetypes coming from the set. Some are better than others, but this is my current tier list prediction for these lists. Now let's combine that with some older familiar faces, I would say. I would say Lugia also in that tier 1 category. Initially I put Lugia in tier 2, but with the survival cast, I've tested a little bit of that, and that's actually kind of scary. Survival cast is an A-spec card, allowing you to, of course, if you get one-shotted, you actually become, you stay alive, and your remaining HP becomes 10 instead. if you put the survival cast onto something like a Chinchino, and a Chinchino is slapping 350 damage, and the opponent doesn't play the Lost Vacuum or the new Stadium card allowing you to shut down the tool cards, you're actually going to be surviving. And then Chinchino is free to do it once again, which is kind of scary. So that's why Lugia become a little bit better. Also very popular in Japan as of late. Another, of course, Tier 1 deck is that Charizard EX Pidgeot deck that is still running around rampant. It still needs to worry about the fact that Dragapult has now entered the scene, and with Dragapult entering the scene, you do see that, the Phantom Dive can sometimes take away your Pidgeys. Excuse me. Yeah, your Pidgeys quite easily, meaning that, if you're playing 50 HP Pidgeys, even 60 HP Pidgeys, they're actually going down quite easily because of Dragapult EX. Also, you maybe have to adapt to the fact you have to play Charmanders with 70 HP once again, because if the opponent goes first, you're going to be taking 2 prize cards, for sure, with the Phantom Dive. They take down a Pidgey, they take down a Charmander, so Dragapult is very, very strong and gives Charizard a run for its money. Also, Dragapult doesn't have any single weakness, so there is that. And also because Dragapult is playing Fire-type energies, they can also play Radiant Charizard themselves. Sometimes they're playing Radiant Alakazam to move around damage counter. So, yeah, these are like the 3 most popular decks currently. Dragapult, Charizard, and Lugia. Moving forward, let's just get rid of some of these archetypes first. Gouging Fire, I personally wouldn't play that. Then, what else do we have here in the don't play? Oh, actually, we have a new, still a new deck that I personally also put in tier 3 is the Palafin EX. Palafin EX is a very strong Pokemon inherently, but getting it out in play is very hard. And also, a lot of Japanese people seem to be agreeing with that because of the fact that the Palafin EX can only get and play with the hero to zero ability, from the other Palafin. Actually, 0 to hero ability, that's the ability. That's the only way you can get Palafin EX into play, and that's a little bit clunky. Sometimes they're playing it with Abra, with the teleport, also in this set. Also, you can be playing it with a lot of switch outs here and there, but 250, sometimes a little bit lackluster. If you take a look at the amount of hit points the opponents, actually the decks here have, a lot of stage 2, a lot of 300 HP and more. So, Palafin currently in tier 3, not a lot of results as of late. Okay, I think we have all of the new decks, right? So let's just focus on the decks that I personally would not play. Arbok with Unfair Stamp in theory seems very good, but it is a deck that tends to not always get the job done. You do need a lot of energies on the Arbok, and sometimes you cannot find your Dark Patches in time. You play with Radiant Greninja, Dark Patch and all that, maybe Squawkabilly as well, and then you play Unfair Stamp, put the opponent to 2 cards, and then bite them away with Arbok. But sometimes they have a draw engine established like Dracloak, Comfey, Pidgeot EX, you name it. So things like that could happen before they attack the Akans. So that's the thing. The opponent can control. You see Akans, you're gonna say, oh, this is Unfair Stamp. I'm gonna wait with knocking out something until I established my board. So there is that. Moving forward, what else am I going to put in the don't play this category? I'm gonna focus on that a little bit later. Let's just focus on the things that are actually very good, and that's actually Lost Box. And the reason why Lost Box actually gains a lot of hype from this set is because of Bloodmoon Ursaluna. Now you can play the best of both worlds. You can play Radiant Greninja for the draw power, as well as sniping capabilities with Moonlight Shuriken, and your late game sweeper is now Bloodmoon Ursaluna instead of Radiant Charizard. So now you can play best of both worlds, you become more consistent. Bloodmoon Ursaluna can take over as well, 260 HP is very crazy. So yeah, with that being said, Lost Box actually gets the high end of the stick, I would say. So these are the 4 horsemen of the format, I would say. Let's focus on the rest. Also, this Charizard with Bibarel. It's Charizard and Bibarel. Playing Bibarel in a format with an Unfair Stamp is never bad, so I'll also put that in tier 1. So now that we got that figured out, let's talk about some other decks, shall we? Chien-Pao is actually also a tier 1 deck, but doesn't like to see Unfair Stamp. If you like knock out something like Bibarel, you use something like Balsazord as Bibarel, you play Unfair Stamp and knock that out, it sometimes can be very troublesome, so I'll put that in tier 2. I don't like putting Chien-Pao in tier 2, but unless we just put Dragapult and Charizard in tier S, then we can put this in tier 1. Maybe that's even a little bit better, right? Sounds like a little bit better to me, so let's put these into that tier S category eventually, because these will be the most popular deck and the most converting deck, so let's put it like that. Dragapult and Charizard in that tier S. Then Lost Box, Lugia, and Chien-Pao in tier 1. Can we put something else in tier 1 there? Yeah, maybe we also put the Giratina deck there. Giratina, still great, doesn't lose all that much, will be swooped away by something like a Dragapult, but can of course use the Star Vacuum and also can still play Maximum Belt if need be to knock out stuff like the Draco, actually to KO or yeah, these 320 HP and more Pokemon can definitely work out. Then also Gardevoir seems to be performing quite well. I don't know if these are all tier 1 decks per se, but Gardevoir actually is performing better with Unfair Stamp, and I am very troublesome to put that in tier 2 because it actually sees some results here. So if we put Gardevoir EX with, of course, the Drifloon, with the Scream Tail, with the Unfair Stamp, you can actually perform quite a little bit of miracles. Do have yourself the bad matchup against Dragapult, because Dragapult can run away with games very easily against the Gardevoir deck, sprinkling around your damage across your rolls, and suddenly you are in a very bad position. For now, let's just put that in tier... Do I put it in maybe tier 2? It is a little bit more reasonable. Snorlax block. Do all of these decks play switch outs? Yeah, Dragapult will be playing some sort of like bench hitters here and there. They could also play it by themselves with Xatu. Xatu is also a partner of Dragapult, by the way. Xatu can get trapped, but Xatu can also attack, but sometimes you don't have enough energies. Snorlax block isn't performing all that well, to be honest. But yeah, it's still a tier 2 deck. It is always a tier 2 deck. Then, for some tier 3 decks, let's talk about Raging Bolt, Sandy Shocks. Let's put that into that tier 3. I personally would not play Espathra because your weak HP Fliddles are gonna be swooped away by Dragapult, its might. So let's just put that in the don't play this category like this. Then Gholdengo, solid tier 3 deck. Could it become better than a tier 2 deck? Some people are playing this with the stage 1 that protects themselves from getting damage counters on your field, but it's also a stage 1, very hard to get out. You can of course play that Ace-Pack card to get 3 stage 1 Pokemon from your deck instantly, and with Irida you can easily fetch that out. So maybe that I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, putting it in tier 2. Something like that. Sounds good to me. Okay, moving forward, Meowscarada will lose a lot of its magic because Dragapult does it better, I would say. So, tier 3. Okay, moving forward, Great Tusk, also tier 3 for me. It is also with Unfair Stamp, it actually helps out a little bit to put the opponent to some low HP, but people will be playing more and more draw into Dracloak, Bibarel, all that good stuff, so let's put that there. Dialga also in tier 3 here. Dialga VSTAR with the Metang can actually surprise a lot of decks out there that don't know how to deal with this. Also, Dialga comes back with 100 HP Metangs, even though Dragapult can actually get rid of your Beldums quite easily. Like, the sniping capability is actually so crazy, to be honest. So let's go with that. So moving forward, Control, also put that in tier 2. Control could have it hard against a Dragapult, but on the other hand, you could be playing something... Actually, the damage counters also are not too great for something like Mimikyu, because you can put damage counters on the Mimikyu while it's on the bench. So you cannot wall off a Dragapult. Dragapult's like kind of crazy. Okay, then Roaring Moon and Koraidon. These are actually... This is an Ancient Box, right? Ancient Box doesn't have it that rough against Dragapult, I would say, although 200 damage on the active and 6 on the bench. At one point, if they attack 3 times, they will have taken 4 prize cards, something like that, right? Yeah, they might uptrade. 320 HP is also a little bit high. I don't know if I'll put this in the tier 2 in this situation. For now, I'm fine with it. Let's go. Then Zoroark, I personally wouldn't play that. I know with Maximum Belt you can hit some ridiculous numbers here and there, and that could help, but I haven't seen that much result from this. Archetypes sometimes still does something, but I'll put it in tier 3. Although, yeah, it doesn't seem that bad against something like a Dragapult, I would say, with some judges by our side, but if they have Dracloaks, they also draw pretty reasonable. Let's put it like here. I think the Arceus decks will have it a little bit rough, also with the Lugia deck now having Survival Cast. Price trading also doesn't seem that favorable. losing against Chien-Pao, Bloodmoon, Ursaluna could spell out some bad news if they have like some basic V Pokemon across the field. So yeah, let's just go with that. Tier 3 for Banette. Banette, that's fine. I've seen some results from Banette recently, but the meta will shift a little bit. Miraidon, just pure Miraidon with Raichu and Raikou. Big basics decks, but they have low HP. Raikou has low HP, Raichu has low HP. They have 200 damage, they can sprinkle around. I'll put that in the don't play this for now. We can still flip-flop some of these, if need be. Turbo Iron Hands could still do its job, by the way, because Dragapult doesn't one-shot an Iron Hands, which is great. And then you can counter catcher, or actually Bossasaurus or Prime Catcher some more. So I'll put that in tier 2. Let's go with this. Gardevoir here. Something like that, I would say. Then we have a Roaring Moon with the Dunsparce. The Dunsparce, also low HP Pokemon with 60 HP, getting caught in the crossfire of the Phantom Dive. Also, yeah, you can use Frenzied Gouging, but that's very bad because the opponent can actually take multiple prize cards at once with a Phantom Dive. So that's kind of scary. Don't know if it actually becomes that much worse. Roaring Moon still has some merit to it, but if you're up against the Chinchino and they turn it into 10 HP, the prize raise is going bad. Against Chien-Pao, you're okay, I suppose. Giratina also kind of okay unless they Roxanne you when they don't have when you don't have any the Dunsparce out. I'll put it in tier 2, giving it the benefit of the doubt. Okay, personally wouldn't play Goodra. Although Goodra, minus 80 damage, is only 120 damage with the Phantom Dive, but you have weak HP Pokemon on the bench, which you can actually sprinkle, so yeah, I don't know if Goodra will actually make a comeback, don't know. Arceus with Vulpix VSTAR, because Dragapult does not have any ability, because Greninja doesn't have any ability. I think Arceus Vulpix just belongs in tier 3, together with all the Arc Pals. Just put the Arc Pals in tier 3. And then a pure Future Box also in tier 3. I think the Iron Hand still takes the cake right there. So that is my current tier list prediction. I don't know if you guys agree with this, but taking a look at the tier S decks, the most powerful and most dominant decks will be Dragapult and Charizard builds. Charizards are already very strong and they continue to stay strong after Twilight Masquerade hits the scene, although Dragapult becomes a little bit interesting because of the damage counters. I think Charizard might have to adapt and to play maybe 70 HP Bidoof if they're playing the Bibarel engine, or maybe 70 HP Charmander just to help out so you survive the hit from the Phantom Dive. Also, Lost Box becomes pretty good because of Bloodmoon or Ursaluna. You still have capabilities of going very crazy with your yeah, you also have TM Devolution, by the way, so don't count out the Lost Box players just yet, even though they have to face off against like stage 2s that have monstrous HP. You still have TM Devolution. You can use Moonlight Shuriken of Greninja, and you can actually fight back with, of course, cards like Frenzied Gouging, Roaring Moon EX, Iron Hands EX to take 2 prize cards, and also Bloodmoon Ursaluna. Lugia gets that survival cast, which is actually helping out the Chinchino with some survivability. And that means you waste less energies. There's the Chien-Pao still running around. Actually, Chien-Pao seems fine in this meta, even though Dragapult comes around. The 70 HP Frigibax might have to be reintroduced into the Chien-Pao deck. Lost on Giratina, still the same. You can, of course, choose Pokemon, actually decks out with Roxanne, and you still have access to the most powerful V-Star to just one-shot anything in existence with that Star Requiem. Gardevoir still seems to be hanging in there. In my opinion, Gardevoir is not dead quite yet. I know there's a negate tower out there, actually a stadium card tower, allowing you to shut down tool cards, but not a lot of decks seems to be playing that, which is in the favor of Gardevoir. Unfair Stamp also seems to be the best A-spec friend from Gardevoir EX. Greninja EX, a very powerful stage 2 Pokemon, getting any card from the deck, also sniping capabilities with Prime Catcher and Cologne in there as well, but still needs to be having a refined list. Yeah, Gholdengo EX, also great because it now gains that A-spec card to get 3 stage 1 EXs from the deck. Ogerpon is an interesting Pokemon with an ability to draw cards, accelerates energies, and has the ability to flip-flop between masks, which help out specific matchups. You do have, of course, the Future Box. Future Iron Hands is still a very great deck out there. Iron Thorns gains its the respect for the most disruptive deck in the format, We do see some Control and Snorlax blocks still around. Roaring Moon EX and the Ancient box still in that tier 2 as well. For the tier 3, there's a little bit of everything. Future Box, Banette, a bunch of Arceuses, there is Dialga, Blissey, Raging Bolt, Great Tusk, Meowscarada, the new Palafin, Froslass, and Dipplin. And then, personally for me, the don't play this would be, I wouldn't be playing Goudra, I wouldn't be playing Miraidon, no Hisuian Zoroark, Bloodmoon, Ursaluna, Forretress, Gouging, Fire, Espathra, Arbok, EX, Luxray. Seems to be reasonable. If you want to be winning tournaments, look at the tier 2 and above. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know by rocking the hell out of the like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to do so. 60% of the people watching the daily uploads are actually not surprised. The statistics of YouTube have told me that, so yeah, definitely double check if you are subscribed so you can stay up to date with everything Pokemon TCG. I also want to thank everyone that watches the daily content, and be sure to check out our sponsors that make the videos possible. DragonShield.com for your sleeves, binders, and deck boxes. YourPlaymat.com to create your own unique custom playmat. PokemonStore.com for your TCG Live code card needs, and CardMarket.com if you're a European player to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. If you enjoyed the video, rock the hell out of the like button, and I will see you guys soon with more Pokemon TCG content. Thanks for watching. Peace.